Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Brittany and it has been a while since I have filmed a homeschool video and I'm so excited to be filming this one today. When I say that it has been a road to be able to film this video, that's an understatement. I think I've had 2 memory cards that have been filled, I've had batteries die, I've had crazy stuff happen. So I'm very excited to be filming this for you today. And when I say we've gone bare bones this year, I feel like we really have. I'm very excited about that. So let's get started. I'm going to show you my homeschool curriculum picks for the 2021-2022 school year. Sometimes it cannot be all about the education of the child, but how it fits into the mother's life. And that sounds a little bit selfish, I know, but I was missing the community of homeschool moms. I was missing that camaraderie, that friendship, that like helping each other, you know, calling somebody, I'm having a rough day, please talk me through this because I'm about to enroll my kids into public school again. Or, you are such a good mom, you are such an encouragement to me. You know, I'm just so thankful that you taught me X, Y, and Z so that I could, you know, school my kid better. And I just was not getting that with our last co-op. And it was an amazing co-op for the kids. I got nothing out of it. And I just feel like it was one of those, like, the clique or the people who ran it were, like, associated with each other and friends with each other. And then that was it. Like, you dropped your kid off, you picked them up, you did your volunteer days, and that was it. There was like community things and things like that scheduled, but it was just people didn't go to them. I don't know. It just was not a good fit for me. I felt very anxious going in there. I'm a person that just feels anxiety with emotion. So when I don't feel comfortable somewhere because I know it's not going to be a place where I just feel like excited to be, I just feel like I get real anxious. I get sad. Like it just really affects my emotions. And so when I moved to South Carolina, I just had it in my heart and was just like, Lord, please send people our way that made this feel like we were meant to be there. And buddy, if he didn't do that, then I don't even know what to tell you. We decided to use, it was so funny, a friend of mine who homeschools, her daughter was like, I'm looking into Classical Conversations, and I want to use the app because we were both focusing on American history last year a little bit more, and so we both downloaded the Cycle 3 Classical Conversations app. So if you don't know, Classical Conversations follows 3 cycles. And so when we moved into South Carolina and we had been using that app, we then looked into doing it as a co-op and curriculum. So I started looking into it. My friend called and got a hold of the director who was local to our area. She immediately called back. She's the most amazing person. She immediately called us back, had us over for a play date the next week, introduced us to everything that we needed to see, told us what we needed to buy, introduced us to other moms, started inviting us to the CC events for the already enrolled kids that were ending their school year with them, invited us to all those events. I ended up having an event at my home for these moms, and I have fallen in love with this community, you guys. Like, I'm telling you, it is the most amazing education. I feel like I have found where we are going to be until the end of their education, you guys. That is how excited I am about this. And then not only that, I just feel like I have found my community. I've not even started the school year, you guys, with this community. And I cannot tell you how excited I am. It is a co-op where you have to go and be a part of it. You have to volunteer in the classes every week. You're there from start to finish. And I can't even tell you, like, I would have been disappointed about that at first if I found that out first. And now I'm just like, I'm so excited to be there. We went to, I had to go to like a class for some things that Tate will be doing this year, and I will explain that later in this video. But I just met with the moms, and I'm telling you, the time and effort that they put in for these kids is not the same throughout every co-op. I've learned that by talking to other people who said that they've used Classical Conversations where we lived in North Carolina, and they were like, we did it and we went home and there was nothing extra. And so they were, I mean, one mom even told me that the fact that you found a Classical Conversations community like that is something special, and you don't need to leave it. I mean, it was just like, you have found something good, don't blow this. So I'm very excited. So I'm going to show you the pieces that I needed for Classical Conversations. I'm going to keep it really brief. And then I'm going to show you the curriculum that I bought to go along with it, because with the younger elementary ages, you do need to add some type of like reading or language arts, and then math. And then with higher grade levels, where Tate is kind of upper elementary at this point, and he'll be doing a few extra things, you just need to add math. So I'm really excited to show you my picks this year. I'm excited about it. I feel like it's going to be a little more minimal, which I'm glad. I feel like we're going to cover a lot with Classical Conversations as the bones and the structure of our curriculum, but at the same time, I can just like add to it the way that I want to. And I explained this to someone else that I was talking about all this with, was before, like last year, because we were in the middle of the pandemic and things like that, I didn't have a co-op. I kind of had all that freedom again. And I felt like when you've got this much freedom, it's almost like a kid in a playground that's not fenced in. You know what I mean? Like, they feel safer and can run around the whole perimeter and get onto everything, and they know where they can go, and it's easy for them to just run and like get onto everything and explore and be excited about it, versus like an empty field that has no barrier and no surroundings of any kind, and they're just like, they kind of just like stay in the, like where they first started. I feel like that's the way I feel right now, because I feel like I didn't explore all these avenues last year because it was almost too much. When you've got every possibility imaginable opened up to you, it's like, where do I even start? I don't even know where to go. But when you're saying, I'm covering ancient history to this time period, and at that point I can be like, oh, well, if we're covering this, then let's do this and this and this, and read these books and do this craft and this science experiment. So I think that it's going to give me almost a little more creativity to know where we're going with it. Does that make sense? So I'm really excited about that. There are a few things I added for like our morning time, and I'm going to be talking about that briefly. But I'm going to show you the picks and what goes along briefly with our Classical Conversations. I'll probably do a more in-depth video on what specifically goes along with the foundation side of Classical Conversation and the essentials side of Classical Conversations. So stay tuned for that. But let's get started. So the thing that I love about Classical Conversations is once you get this book, this is it. Like, this is your teaching guide for cycles 1, 2, and 3. So every week we will do a lot of memory work, which that is what I really fell in love with. So this is my page for the entire week, and we go over all this all week. So they will know all of this by the end of the week. And that just makes me so happy. It's just like less is more at times. And then Tate will be in essentials as well. So foundations covers all of elementary school, and then once they get to 4th grade up to 6th grade, I believe they'll be doing it for 3 years. Tate will get it for 2 because he's in 5th grade this year, but it's called essentials, and it's teaching them how to write, to break down sentences, to do all of the diagramming of sentences and things like that. And so with that, he'll have an essentials guide that's similar to the foundations guide, and then he'll be doing IEW writing. So I've heard nothing but good things about IEW. I actually looked into this without knowing last year that it was a part of Classical Conversations. So I'm very excited that he'll be doing this year. And it coincides with their cycles, which I think is really neat. So he will be doing IEW writing lessons with that. So that is the bones of our curriculum. It goes into some math, geology, history, you know, everything other than a little bit of language arts and reading and math. It still does cover math. It's just like skip counting and things like that. I think it starts to include more math once you get to essentials and then to the other levels of classical conversations. But for Lorelai, being in 2nd grade, we were doing Horizons at the end of the year last year, and she loved it. That girl loves a good worksheet. So I just went ahead and got her Horizons 1. We did book K last year, the 2 books that went along with the kindergarten Horizons. But I will tell you, that is probably about a year ahead. So when she finished that, she was at a 1st grade or higher level to me. She could tell time, she could count money, she could skip count, and with us doing the Cycle 3 app, she was already skip counting like her 8s. So homegirl was like doing great with math. And so I went ahead and got her Horizons 1. I got both the books, and she loves this. I think she's already on lesson 13 or 14, and we've only done like a week of school at this point. So she loves math and will just bust out like 3 or 4 lessons in a day. She just loves it so much. So this is what we're doing. The nice thing for this is that it's like a front and a back lesson, and she loves all the practice. This would overwhelm Tate, I feel like. But it's a spiral approach, so they're gonna go over a little bit of all this almost every day. So it's gonna keep her on her toes with all that, which I like personally. And then with Tate being in 5th grade, I just feel like he doesn't enjoy school the way that Lorelai does. And so with him, it's gonna take a little more coaxing. It's gonna take less actual problems and more talking about them and things like that. He really does love the sit with me, cuddle with me, let's talk about this together, do it together. He loves that still. So for what I got for Tate this year was, and I'm actually doing it with Lorelai as well. We'll be doing it for morning time, a morning basket, but I got Life of Fred. So we're in the Butterflies book with Lorelai, and I just do this together with both of them so that we can really just make sure and know that everything that they needed to know up to that point was like concrete in their minds. So I do love that. And then he's doing the fractions, which is the higher elementary, and I feel like I was a little nervous about starting him here. I feel like I could have done a couple books lower, but we started on the first lesson with this, and he knew what to do, but it was still challenging him. And so someone in a classical conversations meeting that I had was like, we do easy plus 1. So we do what is easy for that child plus one thing that might cause their mind to just start to work a little bit to get to the problem and to the question and the answer that they need. And it challenges them, but it doesn't frustrate them. And so I took that to heart, and I really decided that is what I'm going to really focus on this year, is easy plus 1 for Tate. And my goal for the end of this year for him, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but I feel like if you're a homeschool mom and you've done it for a while, you probably know that this would be a big step, is for him to be doing all of his work independently by the end of the year. And so we're doing Life of Fred. I still sit and read it with him, but he answers all the questions by himself. There's 6 at the end of each lesson. It's called Your Turn to Play. It's in story form or reading form, and then the Your Turn to Play is kind of like almost making their brain practice in another way. So you're reading about what they're doing, and then you're practicing it later. So you're reading math, you're writing math, and you're problem solving traditional problems. So it's like working their brain in 3 different ways, which I think is so cool. So the other thing I added for Tate with math was math antics, and we found them, we just happened to find them on YouTube, and their videos were so helpful when we were looking at fractions a few weeks ago. And then I realized you pay $10 a year, which I did pay for it, and you get the videos and all these extra worksheets. So we were learning about fractions, and then I started him out on adding fractions. And so it gave you a lot of worksheets of just adding fractions, nothing else, just doing that one thing. And so it was like 20 problems with just doing that. And he loved it. He didn't complain. They were just like very to the point, but at the same time, it was just like, okay, I can do this. If I'm doing just this one type of problem, I can do 20 of those, no problem. And so he did them and it worked out great. So I'm very excited to add that to Life of Fred when we just need to practice a concept. So it's almost like I'm using 2 supplemental forms of math to make my own math curriculum. And I'm really excited about that. I feel like it's not going to be overwhelming for him. It's not going to be too much. I'm excited. He doesn't mind it, and he will do his math without complaining. So that's a pretty big thing for a mom who was just like, I cannot listen to you complain about how much you have to do anymore. Your sister is doing more than you and is happy about it. So that's just comparing apples to oranges, though, I feel like, with girls and boys. So for language arts, I didn't have to pick up a curriculum for Tate, and it was so funny. Back in March, I ended up buying all this curriculum I thought I would use. I bought writing, spelling, language arts, math, science, history, all that, and I ended up selling almost like 90% of it, you guys, after we got involved with Classical Conversations, which I think the kids were happy to see all these curriculum books go out the door. But the few things that I kept are what I'm showing you today. But I got The Good and the Beautiful Level 1 for Lorelai this year. And I know it sounds like she's behind being in 2nd grade now, but I will tell you, the things that I've chosen, I feel like are a little advanced. So she's really right where she needs to be. Her reading is phenomenal. She went from not knowing all of her letter sounds at the beginning of 1st grade to now reading all of these blends and these words that I've not even taught her yet. So I feel like she is doing so well, and I'm not going to overwhelm her and be like, okay, you're in 2nd grade now, we're going to do like 2nd grade work, like just right now. So she's probably going to be further than where she really needs to be by the end of this year, not only because of the things that we've chosen, but just because once she decided that she was ready to learn this, she just took off. She got so excited about it. And so I would rather start her out at lower levels and her just love it so much and do so much that she's working in a higher grade by the end of the year than what we even started at, because she loves school. It just is so important for me that they love learning. So I got her The Good and the Beautiful Level 1, and if you've never used The Good and the Beautiful, I would highly recommend starting your younger children out on this. I think the curriculums after this, they do get even more rigorous with each level, and that was an issue for me with my son. But I will tell you, I will tell every mom who's got a kid that's learning to read and they need to like have a real curriculum, this is the way to go for like your 1st grader or 2nd grader. This is awesome. I love The Good and the Beautiful when we did it with my son in 1st grade, and I love it now. It's amazing. It's very open and go. It's easy to just start from one day to the next. It covers phonics, reading, spelling, writing, literature, grammar and punctuation, and art appreciation, all in this one book. It came with a level 1 reader, which both of my kids adore. They have always loved The Good and the Beautiful books. So if you're looking for like books that you want to put in your personal library and books that you feel like your kids will love, that's like wholesome, you don't have to worry about what's going to be in them, I would highly recommend their books. My kids have gone crazy for them. And then I also went ahead and got their writing too. We have done their writing for the last few years, and it's simple and effective. I'll show you right here. I don't know if you can see it at this point, but it follows the colors of the rainbow. So if your kids know the colors of the rainbow in order, then they can do cursive in this book. I think that is so cool. So it's simple and effective, and the kids don't mind to do this every day because they get their writing done and then they get to draw a picture or do a puzzle or something like that. So Lorelai's finishing her level 3, Tate's finishing level 4, and I've already gotten the next levels up for both of them. So I got 4 and 5 for them to finish after. The read alouds that I got this year, along with the things that they'll be doing for school, or like with Lorelai reading level 1 reader with The Good and the Beautiful, and then whatever is assigned with them with Classical Conversations. I got these. I loved these when we read them. We got the first book with when The Good and the Beautiful level 1 recommended it back when Tate was in 1st grade. I loved that book. And I was like, man, I wish they had more than just 1 or 2. Come to find out, they have a book K, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Who knew? I was so excited. So I think it was $47 for the whole pack of 6 books. And I will link it down below, but it's Christian Liberty Nature Readers. They're awesome, you guys. They do these sectioned off, it's almost like a little chapter, and they're usually like a page and a half. So that's it for this one. So I'll show you one more time. So it starts right here for this one, and then goes to the end of this page, and then it asks you questions. And all of them are laid out like that. And so it's enough to really get their brains working. It gives them new vocabulary words, new words for science, teaches them a few things about specific animals or insects or things like that. Ask them those questions and they're done. And it's in such a way that it's not overwhelming. It challenges them to read a little bit more at a time if there's a lot of words on a page, but it's not going to be overwhelming because by the time you get to the next page, you know you're done. And both my kids love these books, you guys. So I would highly, highly recommend, if you need like a science unit, you're not sure what to do, and you just want to implement something easy, you need a good read aloud, these books are the way to go. They're so cool. So I'll link those down below. And then the last thing that I wanted to show you guys was, I'm going to go more in depth with this with my morning basket video because we'll be doing a few things with it, but I got Exploring Nature with Children, a complete year-long curriculum. I'm so very excited about this, you guys. This is really neat. It's laid out 1 week at a time. We're actually doing the end of the year right now because we're in August. It starts in September, like the traditional school year, and then goes all the way into August. So it is a whole year. It just starts where you would typically pick up on a school year. So you can really start it at any point in this book based on what month you bought it and when you want to start. But for August, it's focusing on stars and the planets and things like that. And we have only done a couple lessons and have loved every minute of it. We went to the library and picked more books up on the Big Dipper and the constellations. It was focusing heavy on constellations right now. And we enjoy learning about those so much. So I'm excited to keep going with this and seeing where it goes. And the only thing it suggested to go with this, and it's like, it's not a requirement, but it's highly suggested that you get this book. And I would highly suggest you get this book if you would love nature at all. And it's the Nature Study Handbook by Anna Botsford Comstock. You guys, look how big this book is. It is so cool. I just love this thing. I think it's nice to look at, and I'm telling you, if you want information, it is completely filled up in this book. Like, if you want to know about it, it's in here. And the really neat thing about this is it's in lessons as well. So I think there's over 300 lessons in here by the end of it. And it's in sections as well. So you're going to do animals, insects, what's next? Flowers and plants, weeds, garden flowers, trees, flowerless plants, rocks and minerals, the soil, climate and weather, and then water forms, the skies. Yeah, this book is incredible. I think it's $28 on Amazon. I bought it used at a local curriculum store, a used curriculum bookstore. And I still paid $23 for it, but I think you can get it brand new on Amazon for about $28. So if you don't want to try to hunt for it, because if you are in the homeschool world, you guys, these things go fast if they are in a used curriculum bookstore. So just go ahead and buy it on Amazon. It's about $5 more if you want. But this is such an incredible tool. And the really cool thing about Exploring Nature with Children is that in this, with each week, she has already gone through and handpicked about 5 lessons out of that book to go with what you're doing in Exploring Nature with Children. So she's already told you what lessons to do in this book if you're using it for this. Lola's crying. So that is my curriculum picks video, you guys. I am so happy to have finally gotten it filmed for you. I swear Satan knew that this would help somebody out, and so he made it so incredibly hard for me to film this, but I did it, y'all, and I'm so proud of myself. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that it helps you find something that you're gonna love for your homeschool year, you guys. Let me know down below what you're using this year, if you're doing CC or if you're doing something else that you've never tried before. Let me know how it's going if you've already started your year. And you can find me on Instagram at Brittany Reagan, and I will see you again in our next video. Bye.
I get so caught up in the middle, thinking of drowning in those blue eyes. I'm losing sight 'cause I am falling. I'm so deep down, and it's not a lie.